Good morning and welcome back to Almus Market Mornings, your daily dose of global financial updates. Higher rates and economic recovery was the theme yesterday, with the UK economy posting a surprise services PMI number coming in higher than expected, as well as from the previous number. On the EU front, we had a similar theme: PMIs beating expectations slightly, but majorly currencies remained right where they are due to the Thanksgiving holiday. Good morning, JK. Does it seem that the worst is over for economies like EU and UK with economic recovery in sight? What are your thoughts?
Good morning, Swaraj. Yes, I think last few days, what we have been seeing a recovery in terms of some indicators of major economies. In fact, we had seen similar thing in China last week when their retail sales and industrial production improved for the second successive month, and Eurozone manufacturing and servicing activity, though it is still in a contraction territory, was much better than expected level as well as the previous month. And within the region, Germany improved. That is important. While France had a mixed picture to show. So this also should be seen after the improved economic sentiment that was published last week in terms of the ZEW data, and we will have some more confirmation in terms of IFO survey that will come out today in today's trading. Also, we had, as you said, the UK PMI number moving into the expansion territory, 50.1. That's just a marginal, marginally exceeding the dividing line. But that's a good news again, because UK manufacturing had been in a very big slowdown, and this has actually put the investors for optimism for growth revival in these economies. But I would caution against reading too much, because we are yet to see several other indicators which are still not so great. Particularly in the retail sales, we had a lower number. Then also we had the industrial production that was not so good. But at the same time, it's good to see if the trend remains. We will be happy to see the growth momentum shift to other economies from the US economy. At the same time, the expansion is also giving rise to some fears that the inflation may be again on the rise going forward. Yes, speaking of inflation, Japanese inflation measure accelerated for the first time in 4 months, going against the Japanese view that it will decelerate. That's what they have been saying consistently. The consumer prices, excluding food, inched up 2.9% from 2.8% in September, staying well above 2% target which Japan has set for itself. The month-on-month number jumped to 0.7% from 0.3%. So these are again giving rise to some sort of a market expectation that Japan may be much closer to changing their policy than what they have themselves been saying. But it's very difficult to get any official word towards the tightening or even change in the policy, because they're too tight-lipped about it. And even the currency intervention, which they had been hinting at, actually hasn't come. The dollar yen fell only because of the fall in the dollar yields. So yes, kind of improved data across, and that gives some room for optimism. But otherwise, it was a very thin market across, as US went into a holiday and perhaps into a very long weekend as well. The US and Japanese markets were closed. European stocks added on two factors. One is the improvement in the PMI, and also the euro, the ECB policy meeting minutes that was which was also published yesterday, showed optimism about inflation falling in the eurozone. So that gave a boost to the stocks. And other than that, in India, of course, we did not have any real boost to activity, or rather the volatility. It remains, rupee remains strangulated, traded in the 3 paisa range. And when the global markets go into sleep mode, it has an added impetus for rupee traders to do nothing. In fact, the rupee traders have been doing nothing actually. waiting for something to happen. I'm still hoping that in the next 10 days, when we get indications on the state elections results, that can be some trigger for move either side. And that's right now bordering on hopes, subject to what the central bank thinks should happen. One interesting development away from the developed markets was Turkey raising rates by 5% yesterday versus expectation of 2.5%. So just to have a perspective, their rate was 8.5% in July this year, and now it has reached 40%, and their inflation is around 60%. But the central bank's approach to raising rates heftily, to rein in inflation is heartening. That's actually led to the Turkey lira, which was in the news, having lost nearly 100% in the last 8-9 months, is somewhat giving a reassurance to investors. And perhaps the expectation of the central bank that the inflation will come down in the coming months can also lure more investment flows into Turkey, which has been a very beaten down destination as far as the foreign investors are concerned. So that's the only interesting part that I found yesterday in a holiday themed market. Otherwise, look forward to some good activity today, at least in the Europe, because we have some data on IFO, and even in US we will have the PMI numbers on manufacturing and services. These should give some indication. Then we go into a slumber mode as the long weekend approaches for the traders. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And one major theme which we have been observing is, of course, the Chinese, European, and even somewhat UK economy sort of improving with the numbers they are publishing. Just like we had the Chinese retail sales improving. Now European manufacturing and services activity is also seems to be improving. And one major economy, which is Germany, which is very important for the European Union, it is also improving. So the data point to look out for today would be the IFO survey, which is important to assess the economic activity. But all this economic recovery talk is putting some fears of inflation making a comeback. So that fear is also coming back. Japanese inflation also came in higher, but there is no clarity with respect to whether the Japanese will change their policy. Now, this will be a major story which we will continue tracking. Because it will have a major implication for the global markets. Rupee remains range bound, and as JK mentioned, state election results, which will be out in the next 10 days, will be very important for the currency. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. Have a very good weekend, and tune in on Monday for the latest in the financial markets. I'm sorry, tune in on Tuesday because Monday is a holiday on account of Guru Nanak Jayanti. So have a good weekend. Have a good long weekend. Thank you for listening.